I want you to share it with others. Don't be selfish, because I want to talk to you about shifting your focus and managing your mind and the thoughts that you have. Because when we wake up in the morning, advertisers are competing for the real estate of our minds. And what we have to do is begin to be proactive in programming ourselves rather than allowing ourselves to be programmed by the world. That's why we're told, be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you agree with me, I want you to put yes in the comment section. Just put yes. Make a brother feel good. and something else. See, there are things that's going to happen that's beyond our reach. And it's important that you be okay with that. That's God's business. You do what you can do, handling your business and those things that you can handle. And those things that's beyond you, you have to let go or be dragged. Because there's a lot of stuff. This thing called life where we are, we've never been here before. I feel like Mother Teresa, she said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. So I want to share some thoughts with you. People ask me, what do you do during tough times? How do you handle it? Well, they asked the right person. As I speak to you, I have this trophy here from Cancer Centers of America. It is a trophy that you don't want. It's called the Cancer Center Perseverance Award. Perseverance. I'm a 29-year, fourth stage prostate cancer conqueror. All right, so you don't want that award. Some awards you want, some awards you don't want. But I'm glad to get the award because I'm still here. So the question becomes, how do you do that? How do you keep a positive mindset in the face of a prognosis and say, you're on the way out? How do you deal with that? Well, number one, what's very important is to understand this, that at any given time, we have the power to choose. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. We have the power to choose to focus on the things that are not what we want them to be, or focus on what we can do to create the things that we want in our lives. See, because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. So I deliberately, when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful. I say I'm great and grateful. I'm still here. There are a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning. They're taking a dirt nap. Hello? So I'm grateful. I'm not in pain. You can hear my voice. I can still serve. At 77, I can still make an impact. All right? So what you have to do is face this. Every day is not going to be a good day, but there's some good in every day. So here's my challenge to you. Look for the good. I ain't playing with you. I'm coming for you right now. Look for the good because it's here. And then just take the time to savor it. What most people do, and this is crucial, they leave their minds open like a universal garbage can and taking in stuff and information that they can't do anything about. I support the Ukrainians without any question. I pray for them. I support them. I will contribute to anything to help people who are being displaced. But I will not watch the news on that. It's too negative. I'm not going to inundate my mind with stuff that does not build me up. You remember that song, Don't Let Nobody Bring Me No Bad News. If you can identify with what I'm saying up in here. My brother, I was talking to him the other day, my twin brother, and I can hear him cranking up to give me some bad news. I said, hold just a minute. I paused for a minute. I said, you know what? I'm going to circle back with you. And so he thought I hung up, and I heard him say in the background, he's not going to call me back. He's right. No, I don't want to hear that. He's about to tell me some problem about somebody. I don't know that person. Why do I need that in my mind? I remember a story about a very brilliant man. We all have heard his name, Albert Einstein, and he was asked for his phone number. And he went to a payphone booth and went into the telephone booth and opened up a telephone book. And they said, wait a minute, you Einstein, you don't know your phone number? He said, I don't keep information in my mind that's not usable to me. I don't call myself. Why should I put some stuff in my mind about things I can't do anything about other than saying, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. But I will take some things in that inspire me, things that encourage people that I can use in my presentations. I tell speakers and I train speakers, and some of you out there, I want you to listen to me, and I'm going to give you a strategy on how to become a powerful global voice of transformation. You got to be a good listener. I listen for stories that encourage, that motivate, that inspire. There's a story in the internet of a little 8-year-old Ukrainian girl who went up to a soldier who had all of his gear and his rifle and everything he needs to kill somebody. And this little girl, unarmed, but all she had was her fist, and she went up and she punched him. Now, of course, she didn't cause any damage, but she was striking a blow for give me liberty or give me death. I know you can kill me. I know you don't value my life. I know y'all just blew up a hospital with children in there. I know that. But we're fighting for our freedom here. And all I got is this right here, and I'm going to come over there. I'm going to punch you with everything I got. Now that's inspiring. I want to hear those kind of stories. Tell me stories that I can share, that can lift people's spirits, that can encourage people. Because, see, at the end of the day, we don't know how strong we are until we have to be strong. You don't know enough about yourself to be a wimp. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You are more than a conqueror. And when you just be with that, I'm more than a conqueror. I'm made in the likeness and image of God. It doesn't get any better than that. I've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. These are not just words to be read, but to be lived from. People say, practice what you preach. No, preach what you practice. Sometimes you have to get an attitude with yourself and begin to realize we're more blessed than we give ourselves credit for being, and we must focus on that. When I get up in the morning, I have a gratitude list. I have things that I write down that I'm grateful for, that you can hear me, that I can see. I got my nephew, James, he went stone blind. My twin brother's son, blind at 38. I'm grateful that I have the ability to see and to hear, and that I can pick up my body weight. There was a period of time I was being rolled around in a wheelchair because of sciatica pain, and the pain from the little C, cancer. So there's going to always be some stuff. Viktor Frankl, he talks about it in Man's Search for Meaning. He said, you either in a problem, or you just left one, or you headed toward one. Therefore, take unto you the whole armor of God. What is that armor? Faith. And faith not tested can't be trusted. Perseverance, You're going to go through some stuff. Lady, she had a car accident and her neck was broken. She said, my neck was broken, but my neck didn't break me. Although she's a quadriplegic, she's still living a productive life. She's not somewhere feeling sorry for herself. The other thing is, you got to watch who you talk to. I have a friend named Ed Foreman who just passed a few weeks ago. And it's the first seminar that I went to. Ed had something that he did, and at first I didn't get it. Ed will never ask you, how you doing? I said, Ed, why don't you ask how people are feeling? He said, because they might tell you. He said, no. He said, I just tell her, you're doing great. You look better this time than the last time I saw you. He said, I compliment him. I find something good to say because people want to tell somebody about what they're dealing with, but you want to call forth those things that be not as though they were. Do you believe that? Are you down with that? Do you understand what I'm sharing with you right now? It's a part of what we have been told, and it's something that we don't want to just hear it, but to live from that place, to stand in that place of power. I believe that we're here for a reason. And all this stuff that's happening, that God is in the midst of it. But therefore, take unto you the whole armor that we've got to stand up inside ourselves and face it head on, called life. And sometimes I have to get an attitude with myself because sometimes things get to me. Got a son who's bipolar schizophrenic. And I had to realize, hey, that's his trip. He doesn't want to take his medication. He's 38 years old. That's beyond me. That's him and God. They got to work that thing out. I'm not going to stress myself out about some stuff that I can't control. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot control. Courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. See, it's easy to say those nice little words when you don't have any pain in your body and your bills are paid, you're not facing foreclosure, or your relationship is working out fine and your children act like they have good sense. It's easy to say those things. But when life knocks, when life challenges you, that's when you have to pull and call on the whole armor. That's when you have to be able to understand, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Oh boy, this thing called life. I saw something with some actors they were talking about. Had they learned when they were younger that whatever you're going through right now, if it's bad, if it's painful, if it's tragic, guess what? This too shall pass. And whatever you're going through right now, if it's a celebration, you're happy, you are joyful, things are going great, you feel good in your body, you're physically capable to doing whatever you want to do, your relationship is working out fine, this too shall pass. What do you mean? Life is a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they don't go so well. And we have the power to be an observer and not buy into it and decide, wait a minute, I'm going to find some good in this. I'm going to wrestle with this angel until I find my blessing up in here. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, peace of mind, for your relationship, for your health, once you stop fighting for what you want, a good night's sleep, a relationship that's where you love each other and care about each other and got each other's back. Once you are unwilling to fight for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. I ain't playing with you. I'm telling you what I know. You have something special. And even if you don't believe me, I don't care. I'm going to say it until I get through to you. Why? Because that's my mission. I believe live your life the way you want to leave your life. And that's what I'm doing. My goal is to leave my life inspiring you, encouraging you, lifting spirits, reminding you of the greatness that you have in you, reminding you that you are a treasure, you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. Oh, behave. Hello? So having said those words, I want you to know, Tyrone and I, my little squirrel friend, you have something special. You have greatness in you. Bye for now. Make it important to know what drives you and what's most important now. There are things that used to be important to me. They're no longer important. And that's why I've been doing Operation Clean Slate, getting a lot of stuff and a lot of people out of my life. I remember when I read the book, Who's the Matter with Me? I wrote down the names of the family members and friends that I communicated with most. And I asked myself the question, is this relevant? This relationship, is it productive? Is it positive? Is this relationship, does it bring the best out of me? This relationship, this energy, does it challenge me? Hold me accountable to a higher standard? People rub off on you. Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. He said, either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? I want you to write this down. OQP, going forward, only quality people. I do not allow myself to be in the company of people that I know more than them. Why? If you're the smartest one in the group, you need to get a new group. No. Jim Rohn said something. He said your life is either a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do or an example of what to do. And part of what I'm saying to my children, hey, be careful about who you're around with. I remember Mama saying, Leslie, if you run around with 9 broke people, she said, I guarantee you, you become number 10. And so as you look at growing your practice, as you look at making a greater impact in your community, as you look at the things that you want to do, and being involved in legacy building and making the rest of your life the best of your life, we have to constantly monitor and be mindful of who's around us and what relationships that we have. People say it's not what you know, it's who you know. Not just that, it's who you know and what they know about you. Do you have the kind of reputation in the industry that people will see you as a go-to person? God said to Abraham, I make your name great. Didn't say I make you a great man. I make your name great. The reason that when Fab calls me, he's a good man. He calls me. I don't call everybody back. But when he calls me, because of how I see him and because of my relationship with him, because of his vision, because of his integrity, because of the stand that he's taken with his life, people say, practice what you preach. No, preach what you practice. And what I know about him, I'm going to answer his call. I'm going to follow up. And that's the kind of relationships going forward in and out of the pandemic that we have to continue to look for and to develop. Some of the relationships that we need to spend less time with. There's some people, if we never saw them again, it would be too soon. Yes, when I read that you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends, I got all my broke friends out of my life. I used to be so broke I walked past the bank and tripped the alarm. And so this is the time you have to look at who's around me, who's the matter with you. When I think about the 3 pillars of something that would be your anchor, a foundation to drive you into the future, to live a big dream, to live a big life, a mindset. What you think about, you bring about. As a man thinketh, so is he. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. If there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And I think that in many cases, governments and religious institutions have really unwittingly crushed the dreams and aspirations and the visions that people had of themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think it's incumbent upon the individual to take responsibility, to develop yourself, to expand your mind and your vision, to seek out experiences. Helen Keller said life should be a daring adventure, it's boring. And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? I remember going to Auschwitz and walking down the halls in the Nazi German concentration camps and seeing the pictures of men and women who had dreams. And these people were exterminated. And one of the things that I heard in my mind when I reflected on a book written by Viktor Frankl, who was there, he said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. And he talked about the people who were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, those who either believed in God or had someone that they loved that they were determined to see, or some cause bigger than themselves. And in my case, my goal was to buy my mother a home. That was my big dream. And that caused me to read things and to listen to things, to fuel my imagination. And then to develop my skills to becoming a voice of influence. And the other thing that's important is creating a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And it started with a man, Mr. Washington, who said, a high school teacher, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It could start with one person, and then it goes from there. I started associating with people who were doing what I wanted to do. I joined a multi-level marketing group called Best Line Products. When I heard the voice of a guy that when he spoke, it seemed like he was talking to me. I was in a hotel at a convention and Bill Bailey spoke and he was selling this dream. I didn't even know the products, but I wanted to be a part of it. And what I found, and one of the great things about multi-level marketing, is that it puts you in a community of other like-minded people. I think that's the value and the power of associations of different kinds. Associating with people who share your values, associating with people, like-minded people who have dreams, who have goals that they're working on, and being in that community. Studies indicate that one goose can fly 40% further in formation with other geese than can ever fly by itself. In fact, I'm thinking about a scientific study where they exposed some rats to electronic shock, and after they increased it, it killed them instantly. But then they put these rats in groupings with other sharks, with other rats, and then what happened was that they continued to increase the shocks of these rats, and they increased it over 10 times more, and it took far more to kill them than what it took with just one. And so there's something about being in a community of people who share your dream, who hold you accountable, who challenge you, who call you out, who can see what you can't see that you have within you, and inspire you to step up. Of Ebony Magazine, the late John H. Johnson, who started that with a $500 loan from his mother, and he said something in his book called Making It Against All Odds. There's no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. And I suggest to you, one, work on yourself. To me, I think there are three pillars of what's required in order to carve out your place in this global economy. There are many steps, but there are three that I think that's indispensable. One is working on your mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The second is of having a mindset and willing to discipline yourself to make the sacrifice to engage in ongoing self-study for self-growth and development, developing your communication skills. I can hear Mr. Washington now say, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nelson Mandela said, if you speak from your mind, you speak in a language that a man can understand. But when you speak from your heart, you speak in his language. And so my goal in teaching people how to create mass appeal, how to change lives, and that you have to change yourself. It starts with you. And then you begin to see from your experience how you can begin to impact and influence others and be a voice of change. And that ability really will allow you to carve out a place for yourself in the marketplace. And the methods and the techniques, the simplicity of how you language what you say. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to take the complicated and make it simple. And so when you are creating change and mass appeal, keeping it simple, but being the message that you bring, and loving it, and standing in your power, and realize that you're here for a reason. I believe to make a difference. I believe to do a great work. I believe to live a life, as Jim Rohn said, when you live your life, he said, your life can be either an example or it's a warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do and what's possible. 85% of them reach their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. Now, to me, that was big, because I was in special education. I was labeled educable mentally retarded. So I said, whoa, that means I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. That if I have a winner's attitude, that I've got a shot, that I could make it, that I don't have to live a life of being average. I wanted to live a life of meaning, of purpose. Being adopted, I wanted to do something for my mother. And so by listening to motivational messages and reading on a regular basis, it really taught me the value of using your time to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to really restructure your belief system for what was possible for you. It really expanded my vision of myself. And so to me, that's what it means about mass appeal, because I was working on myself. Then I started sharing it with others, and I noticed a difference in them when I shared with them the things that I was doing, because they saw the difference in me. And it's been said that a career is something you love so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. So as I talked with and shared with my friends what I was doing and what was possible for them, I eventually evolved into this life of where I am. And as a result, I carved out a market for myself. And because this is my passion, this is what I've spent the majority of my life doing, I've developed a level of expertise, a level of strength and power and reputation in this area that created a demand for myself. To me, one of the most important things and the first step in changing lives is to have a program for yourself. When I started on this path, that was what my goal was to change me. Given my circumstances, I think that, psychologists say that we create a mental blueprint between the ages of 1 and 5, that between that time we determine what's available for us and what's not available for us. And so, given my circumstances, being born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, I became interested in a path of developing myself. I remember shining the shoes of Mr. Sidursky, this man that my mother worked for, very wealthy on Miami Beach. She cleaned his home and she cooked for the family and kept the children. And he listened to motivational messages unbeknownst to me. That was programming my mind, and it created a thirst within me to get on this path. I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, who said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And so to me, reading became an out. It became a tool that I used to develop myself. And not just reading for enjoyment, but reading for personal growth, reading to look at those things that I read and to apply them in my lives. And I would read sometimes at night from 60, 100 pages a night, sometimes a whole book. And then I would underline the book and I would think about them, I would memorize them, and then I would apply them. I would try them out. Because one of the things he said, they did a study of some top achievers and leaders around the world, over 3,000, to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals. Now, I want you to write this down. Resilient, purpose-driven mindset. Resilient, purpose-driven mindset. That with all the stuff that's going on, with all of the confusion from the scientific community, from the leadership, from the presidency on down, it has collateral effect. And there are so many people that's confused. You wear the mask or you don't have to wear the mask. Or if you have the coronavirus, you need to wear the mask so you don't give it to somebody else. And if you have it, you should stay in the house. They got all kind of things. If you make love, you should have the mask on. That is not romantic to me. You know, I say, wait a minute, y'all come on up in the bedroom. Okay, baby, put your mask on. Well, I'm going to kiss you with my mask on. Oh, behave, whatever. But all kind of confused, you know, all this stuff going on. And you could die from talking to somebody with a mask that's held under their nose. You know why my hair is like it and I'm looking like Kid and play like Kid from House Party? Because my barber, he likes to wear his mask like this. I said, man, put your mask on, all right? I told him. So he does this. Man, hey, hello. Habla español, English? What? Come on. Have I told? Put your mask on, cover your mouth. I know your breath kicking like Bruce Lee, but cover the nose too. It's, I mean, about to make me lose my mind over this. I decided I'm not going through that. I'm not going through that. I'm not coming out the house till 2027, and I work on myself. I got some new squirrel friends. I'm bilingual. I speak squirrely. And I listen to motivational messages first thing in the morning. You want to listen to my voice. Go on YouTube. Find Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. Find Les Brown. It's possible. And I tell the story about the bamboo tree. Find Les Brown getting unstuck, and I talk about Chicken Man. Listen to things, listen to me. Listen to things that can build your mental resiliency. You want to have a resilient, purpose-driven mindset that will focus your mind on the goals that you want to achieve, on the things that you need to do, to reinvent yourself, to rethink your life, to see whether or not you're on the path to becoming the next greatest version of yourself. And in order to get through this time, I mean, sometimes I when I wake up in the morning, I said, this is still not a dream. This is crazy. People say, I'd like to come by and see you. Is that right? Okay, I'm on the first floor. We can talk through the window. Come on. I mean, just think about this. Every day when I see people with masks on looking outside my window, seeing the squirrels jumping from one tree to the other, they never lose their footing. That's why I learned squirrely. Tyrone, he's leading everybody. He's introducing everybody to me. He's the most motivated squirrel in my neighborhood. Les Brown is about to do his StreamYard or another Zoom. My kids say I've been in the house too long. I'm suffering from cabin fever. Whatever. So read 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day. Drill yourself. You say, well, I've listened to it. No. Listen to it until you're manifesting results. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. So in order to develop that resilient, purpose-driven mindset, You want to listen to the messages over and over, take notes on things that jumps out for you, and become the embodiment of it, and develop that kind of mindset and how you carry yourself and how you face this thing called life. Faith not tested can't be trusted. So you got to have faith in yourself. But we're being tested right now. If you've never been tested, listen to me. No test, no testimony. Faith not tested can't be trusted. It's easy to have faith when things are going great. When the kids are acting like they have good sense. When you have a job, you have money, you have your health. Whoa, no big deal there. But when life knocks on the door, when you go through some stuff, when you get a bad diagnosis, that's when you have to pull on your faith. That's when you have to be resilient. I've got a saying, and all of you know it. Life knocks you down, try and land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Now, here's the other thing that's very important. As you look at yourself, you want to master at least three things. Three things. Multiple streams of income. Three things. I speak, I train speakers, and I'm an author. And I got other things I'm expanding. And I'm 75. Well, why are you still doing it? Because you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. I believe that the reason that we look at people over a certain age, at Alzheimer's and dementia becomes active, is because they are inactive. My mother used to say it, if you don't use it, you lose it. It takes longer to wear out than to rust out. So the goal is to be actively engaged in life, raising the bar on yourself. Turn down the amount of time that you spend entertaining yourself, watching the television, as my daughter, Dr. Ona Brown, would say, and do things that will stimulate your thinking. It will keep you young. Just because you're 75, chronologically don't mean that you have to look 75. No. And so I decided, just because I'm 75, you're not going to count me out. I'm still here. I'm going to be engaged in this thing called life because I have not done my best work yet. You have not done your best work yet. Every day is the best day of your life, as Orrin Hudson would say out of Atlanta, the chess master. Why? Because if you don't believe that, try missing a day. Every day is the best day of your life. Look for ways in which you can begin to master something, learn something today that you did not know yesterday. Expand your horizon, expand your vision of what's possible for you. Continuously be a student. My high school theme was, you never find out how much you know until you find out how little you know. Study. The people that are going to make it today are looking at the various trends. They're going from mindset mastery, learning three things that they can master to create non-performance income, and they're studying continuously, learning things that they can get at the end of their fingertips on the internet. There's no excuse today for not being in the mindset of achieving something beyond that which you have already done. Life is an adventure. Helen Keller said life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. And this is an exciting time that you can earn money at the comfort of your home. Think about that. Virtually around the world. I just finished talking to some people in Germany. And then I talked to some people in Toronto, Canada. I'm making money around the world and I'm still home. Virtually. Take advantage of this. This is something you want to learn. Mindset mastery and skill set mastery of the internet. I remember a friend of mine that was incarcerated, and for years she had thrown her life away in alcohol and to drugs. And I said, what was the moment that you turned your life around? She's been sober now for 21 years. And she said one day she was cleaning the toilet of the warden of the prison. And she said while she's cleaning the toilet and she flushed the toilet, she said it was like an aha moment, that she said to herself, if I stop doing drugs, I'll never have to clean a warden's toilet again. Isn't that interesting? That was like an awakening for her. And from that time to this time, she never touched a glass of alcohol. From that time to this time, she stopped using drugs. From that time to this time, she stopped associating with her friends who were still into drugs. And many to this day, those that are not in jail or those that are not dead yet, that moment, all of us have moments in our lives when it's a wake-up moment. I remember I was 10 years old and working with my mother, and she was on Miami Beach and working for families, wealthy families, and cooking for them. And we ate the food left over from these families that she cooked for. They were kind and generous people. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. And I remember looking around these big, beautiful homes, and I said, Mama, and she said, Leslie, what is it? I said, one day, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. And now, where did that come from? Now, I have a twin brother, and I think that what happened for me that did not happen for my brother, the part of the mansion that he worked in, he didn't have exposure to something that I had. The owner of this home, this wealthy man, he was playing motivational messages every day. I had to keep his office clean and the ashtrays clean of his cigars, and had to vacuum and dust the bookshelf. But while I was doing that, I was listening to these messages. We become what we think about, by Earl Nightingale. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. I did not know at the time that my mind was being programmed. See, if you look at yourself and look at your goals and look at your dreams, here's what I know. You have to really program your mind for success. You have to program it deliberately because of that exposure. My brother didn't get that. He was in another part of the house. But because of that exposure, it did something for me. It changed my mental blueprint. And I can say to you, that as you take the time every day, if you didn't do anything but 1 hour a day, listen to things to build your spirit up. Listen to things to fortify your faith. Listen to things that will cause your mind to grow and to expand. I can tell you, based upon my own experience, there are things that you can do that you don't even realize.
What do you think has been the greatest skill you've developed over the years? Is it the ability to overcome adversity? Is it the ability to use your words? What is that skill you think that you possess has given you so much greatness?
I think it's a combination of both. One, mental resolve. I think that everybody needs that, because when you have goals and dreams, there will be resistance. An airplane cannot fly without the resistance of air. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. That when you have goals and dreams, the book of life says, think it not strange that you face the furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. So the ability, when you are faced with something and it's new territory, when they said you have cancer, those are 3 words no one ever want to hear. And the oncologist, Dr. Alfred Goldson, who was an unusual personality, he said, you have cancer, and it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body, including your spinal cord. I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yeah, and you're ugly too. I know you didn't just call me ugly. He said, yes, I did. You ugly now. And we both were laughing. He said, but you got this. We determine the diagnosis. God in you determines the prognosis. You and God determine that. You got this. What I learned from that enhanced my speaking. When you laugh, the mind shuts down and the heart opens up. I left there with a confident feeling in my heart. I got this. When he spoke it, I felt it at this cellular level. I did not leave there feeling fear. He was so good with making you feel comfortable with whatever you're dealing with, that you are not in denial, you just are defiant. And so when your show, which has changed millions of people's lives, people you never meet, what it does is distract, dispute, and inspire. How we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. What you do is distract them from what psychologists call their self-explanatory style. And through the process of your own example, your own vision of yourself, the guests that you have, the interviews that you have, you dismantle their current belief system. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You are renewing minds, expanding their vision beyond their indoctrination and mental conditioning. And you ignite their spirit where they decide to create a new chapter in their lives. That's what you do as a speaker and as a host. And people who watch and listen to your program right now in America, before the coronavirus, suicide rate increased by 39%. And children between 5 and 11, it has tripled. How do you decide at 5 to take your life? And now it is soaring, the suicide rate. So what you do with this program, you're giving people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives a person power in the present, that they can get through it. They might not know how they're going to do it, but they have the mindset. Robert Schuller said, tough times never last, but tough people do. And so that you share with them a voice of transformation, because, and I share this with speakers that I train, who you are behind the words that you speak are more important than the words. Because had you not gone through what you have gone through and experienced, you would not be able to speak from a place of power. You would not be able to come in and do this program and call this the school of greatness, that you've got greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And then affirm and validate people as we are facing this pandemic. It's to be able to say that from a place of power. The spirit of who you are comes through your words, and people feel that when you speak, and they hear it, your sincerity, your genuineness. And that's why your program is popular, because you impact people, because you know a thing or two, because you've seen a thing or two.
I appreciate that, Les. You know, it's interesting you talk about suicide rates increasing. Unfortunately, I was going on a drive to San Francisco over the weekend, taking my girlfriend up the coast of California, and she'd never seen it. Had a beautiful experience. And as we're driving back into Los Angeles, I live in a condo building, a tall condo building. It's probably 35, 40 stories high. And as we pull into the building, I'm about to park, I see police with a yellow tape and a white tent, and over the kind of driving area. And I remember just thinking to myself, there's no way someone jumped off this building. There's no way someone did this. And I asked right away, I go, tell me someone did not jump. And the guy looked at me and he just said, yeah, a couple hours ago. And I go, you're kidding me. And I later found out, it was reported in the news. This was yesterday. Yesterday. This just happened. Wow. It kind of shook me up a little bit too. And literally, I learned that the person who jumped is my building. It was literally right next to my window, a few floors up. He jumped out of. His name is Steve Bing. It's all over the news right now. And this was a very successful businessman who, 55 years old, I think. I think it was reported he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. A very successful businessman who is close friends with Bill Clinton, who I saw Clinton made a statement about as well. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since yesterday. I was thinking about it all night. You said it was hard for you to sleep last night from the stuff you saw. For me, it was hard for me to sleep last night thinking about the pain and the suffering that people go through inside that we may never know about. And, I was trying to rationalize, like, why would this happen? Was it drugs? Was it depression? Was it, like, I can't reason sometimes why this happens to someone who you think it would never happen to, or someone who had all the things on the outside that seemed to be successful, but for whatever reason, I don't know. And I don't know how to make sense of that type of stuff. Do you know how to make sense of things when you see that?
Well, I had a guy, he just wrote me, and I kept this text where he had tied a noose together. He was going to hang himself, had it around his neck, and he was going to get a chair. He's trying to look a place where he could suspend himself and placed a rope, and the phone rang. And he had said to himself, God, give me a sign. So with the rope around his neck and holding in part of it in his hand, he answered his cell phone, and there was nobody there. And he took that as a sign, and he said in that moment, he was listening to me, and he remembered a statement I made that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And he said, he asked himself, why would I throw my life back in God's face? I was talking about the fact that we were chosen 1 out of 400 million sperm, that you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. And he said, I kept saying to myself, I'm a masterpiece. I'm a piece of the master. And he talked himself back from those suicidal thoughts. He really didn't want to die. He wanted to stop the pain that he was experiencing from the breakup of the relationship, from the loss of his job, from what he felt his life had the rug snatched out from under it. He's among those 40,500,000 people who've lost their jobs in the coronavirus economy. And so that's why what you're doing is so important, because when you go through an experience, you have the school of greatness. Not elementary school, high school, college. No one is saying to people, you have greatness in you. In those type of structures, even in church. And so the reason that I advance with that, the Book of Life says, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. That you have greatness within you. That when Mr. Leroy Washington, when I was so captivated by this man's oratorical skills, he was a speech and drama teacher, and he asked me to do something. You know the story. He wanted me to go before him and read a script really before the class. And I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm not one of your students. And he said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb one. And I said, I am, sir. And he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he did that. I was startled. Because my mother said, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. But words can hurt you, and very deeply. And when he said that, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I remember going to my next class, and between classes, I kept saying that to myself. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. As I was going home, and what they think about me, I don't have to be that. It's not what they called me, it's what I answer to and what I call myself.
Dang.
That was an interrupting moment.
Wow.
That's how the program is it's a disruptor, more powerful than Corona.
Ooh, I always love hearing that story. That story never gets old for me.
Yeah.
And how did you learn to overcome the opinions of others, but I think more importantly, the opinion of yourself? Because if we have the program, we have, I am the dumb twin. Yes, sir. I am learning disabilities. I am this. How did you personally overcome your own biggest enemy?
He was a voracious reader, and he gave me a book, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. That little pamphlet is a powerful little pamphlet. I've read it a lot. And The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. I read that over and over again, and other motivational books, Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. And so reading those, he said, if you want to become successful, number one, develop your mind. And he was a fan of Earl Nightingale, that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. The strangest secret in the world. I've listened to that so many times, I've wore it out. And then the other thing he said, develop your mind. Next thing he said, practice OQP, only quality people. Surround yourself with people that you can learn from, people that have more than you, people that will help you to grow mentally and emotionally and financially and spiritually. And the next thing he said, which is the master key to opening up new worlds for you, is your ability to communicate. Because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And I believed him, and I followed that. I never forget when I was in Poland, and I was in this stadium, and I saw my name up, and people started chanting when they saw me coming through the tunnel. And I said, Mr. Washington, this one is for you, sir. You know, he's gone. He's been gone. I eulogized him. I said, I'm going to make you proud today, because it was my first time speaking in Poland, you know. And so, but I so admired him. I've never known my father or birth mother, but that the ability to connect with people that are strangers to you and can create a shift in their lives and how they see themselves, to have that sacred opportunity to share your story and distract, dispute, and inspire them to realize, as the play Lion King, Simba, you're more than that which you have become. That's what you do every day, up in here.
I remember last time we talked, you said you wanted to really leave a legacy by teaching other people how to speak and communicate better, and you were creating a select smaller group. I think it was either 50 or 100 people that you wanted to train and speak. Are you still doing that? Because I had a friend who was going through the program with you, or hired you, my buddy Judd. So I didn't know.
Oh, I know Judd. That's my dude. That's my brother from another mother.
Exactly.
Yes, man, from Australia. Yeah. Yes, I'm training, but I've had to increase that number. I do intense one-on-one training, but I'm selective about working with a lot of people right now. But we do it virtually now. I can do it more virtually because I'm 75, so I cannot afford with underlying issues of diabetes and cancer. And 75, if you show up at the hospital, they'll push you in a coat over there and say, no, you're about to leave here anyhow. So we're not going to waste any medicine on you. So I stayed out of hospital. I'll tell you how bad it is, Louis. I'm upstairs by myself, right? I sneezed. And man, I broke out and I started running downstairs. I said, wait a minute. That was my sneeze. So I came back upstairs and I still started spraying the Lysol. I called my daughter. I said, I think I'm having a meltdown. I want to go out the house. She said, no, you can't go anywhere other than Walgreens and Publix, and we will drive you there. You don't need to be behind the wheel. I said, I'm not that old, so I'm being very, very disciplined and keeping myself out of harm's way.
That's good. That's good.
Keep my mask.
That's good.
Doing all the stuff that we need to do.
Yeah.
Common sense.